From the beginning, we were wrong, and only now, well into the second decade of the conflict, have we begun to understand the mistakes we have made. We lived in harmony among the Fae, in a world awakened to new magic. Perhaps we should have foreseen what might be born on this rising tide. What force might awaken. A force powerful enough to twist even the eternal and immutable Fae folk. But Gadflow, the new king of the Winter Court, surprised us all. Singular among his people, he was all that other Fae were not. Aggressive, ambitious, visionary. He had power like none we had ever seen. Terrible and deadly. Gadflow and his followers, the Tuatha Deon, believed that a new god was to be born in the east, beneath Gadflow's crystalline fortress of Amathen. In the name of that god, they marched to war against the young races of Amalur. Against a mortal army, no matter the power of their god, we might have been victorious. But the Fae are creatures of magic, not bound by the laws of life and death. Each Tuatha fallen on the battlefield would soon rise again, for the Fae do not know death as we do. How could we stand against such a force? For 10 years the war raged. For 10 years the armies of Men and Alpha fought and died. But as our numbers dwindled, we knew that it was only a matter of time. Our fate had been written. At least, that is what we believed. Until you died.
What do you think this one is then? Alpha, Garan, could even be a Jotun. Always a surprise, eh, Garan?
Eyes on the job, boy. Don't matter what it is. Dead's dead. And be thankful for that. All we've seen. Go on and pull back the sheet, though. It'll need to be in our report, one way or the other. One of the Barani women. Must have followed a mercenary band over. Maybe one of them herself. Doesn't much matter now. Fared pretty well, though. All right, then. Make sure it goes into the report. You know he'll want all the details.
Amazing how well the body held up. Better than I've seen.
I'm just glad it's not moving. Must have been born under a lucky star, this one.
Anything else we need?
Unless you'd like to name her, I think we're done. Put her with the others.
Well, that's it for you then. Better luck next time.
Scatter, children of dust! Scatter before the might of the Tuatha!
Stay away! You! Up there, please help me!
No
Please!
child of more mortal scum? No matter. You'll all die.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. If you hadn't come along, Wait. I've seen you before. On the slab. You were dead. It worked. By the tome, it worked. You're alive. You died. I don't know how or even where. But your body was remade in the Well of Souls, and somehow it worked. The well restored your soul to your body, and it worked. We must get you to Professor Hughes right away. He'll have questions for you. Professor Formorus Hughes, the Well of Souls is his life's work. The Tuatha are coming into the lower levels. If we hurry, we should be able to beat them to the top. Take these. They'll help keep you safe long enough to get to Hughes. Now, let's get going! The Well of Souls is just ahead. You'll see. And it works. It restored you to life. There will be plenty of time to explain later. We've got to get going. I wish I could tell you more. You showed no signs of life when we removed your new body from the well's waters. We just put it in the furnace room with the others. We would have never done that if we knew. Oh my, you don't know? Perhaps the process damaged your memory. They are the Tuatha Deon, the enemy of all the young races. We've never seen them this far inland. Not even during the invasion. I don't know why they're here. He'll be in his study on the ground floor of the tower. At least, I hope he's there. And safe. Let me get this door, and we can be on our way. Right this way. You go first. This is what they're after. Our greatest invention. The Well of Souls. Imagine an end to war. An end to death. Daggers are deadly if you catch an enemy unaware. Their speed more than makes up for their size. More up ahead. If you can sneak up on them with your daggers, you should be able to finish them quickly and quietly.
Look at the mortal burden scattered.
Cave blossoms only respond in the presence of magic. Perhaps there is more to you than it seems. Incredible! What are you? It completely covered the tunnel. Maybe you can use that staff to burn a path through. You're not one of them. It's yet alive. And who's this? That's what I intend to find out. She came out of the well.
What? And she better get inside to see the old man. Quick, before those Tuatha make another push.
This is where we part ways. But take whatever you want from this armory. We might have a few things that would fit you. Just make sure you get to Hughes. We can hold off the Tuatha here. directly ahead, in his study. Just keep going past the top of the well. He needs to see you. Right now, you're the most valuable thing in his world. I'll see you on the outside, if fate wills it. Go on. There isn't time to waste. I'll see you on the outside, if fate wills it.
You've made it, and look at you, even with all you've been through. The Tuatha, your return from the dead. Please forgive me, you must be terribly confused by all of this. I am Fomerus Hughes, and this is my laboratory at Alistar. Everything you see here is dedicated to one thing, the Well of Souls, the pursuit of immortality. And you're my first success. If we only had the time, there's so much we might learn from one another. It's been my life's work. Decades of research with a singular goal, ending death itself. And now, you're the only proof that it's a success. But why did it work on you and no one else? What makes you different from the others? There are so many questions to ask, and if we're to get any answers, we've got to get you someplace safe. I wish I could tell you more, but your death is a mystery to me as well. It seems that your memory died with your body. You see, the well is designed to capture the soul of someone recently deceased, recreating their physical form within its waters. Simple, really. Your rebirth is the first we might truly call a success. There have been others, but the results weren't quite right. You don't know. They're called the Tuatha. They were once Fey folk of the Winter Court, but they've been twisted by their Lord Gadflow. But how could they have found us out here? We're miles away from the front lines. The war has never touched Dalentarth. And why attack the well? The Tuatha are a radical splinter of the Fae. Insane, bloodthirsty, and immortal. Even when they die, their essence returns home to be reborn later. They hate mortals like you and me, and want us wiped off the face of Amalur. I can only imagine how much they hate the idea of mortals being reborn. The Fae are complicated. I could write 10 volumes on the effects of immortality on their pseudo-feudal court system alone. I am Fomerus Hughes, Scholar of Vivification Prime Circle. We're standing above my life's work, the Well of Souls. There's so much to learn about you, though. I imagine it's all a bit muddled. A side effect of the prismere? Shape of the basin? No. If only we had more time. Too much to explain right now. The Tuatha have come to stop my work, but I don't believe they know about you. Not yet. What's important is getting you out of here safely. You're the only proof of what we've achieved here. I may not be able to save the well, but I can ensure that its only success is safe. We're in the Feylands, miles away from the front lines. I thought we were safe enough from the war, but it seems some of the Tuatha found their way here anyway. Absolutely not. I've got my notes, but it's most important that you stay safe. It's just that you're... Fascinating. Simply astounding. I'm not certain what's caused it, but somehow... yes, as I was saying, I'm not sure what... Perhaps I should go see.
Sir! Mr. Hughes! The Tuatha have reached the lab! They're inside the lab!
No! We've got to get you out of here now! Quickly! Follow the path to the town of Gorhat. Find Agar. He's a friend, and he may be able to help. No matter what else, stay alive!
I saw you fighting there. We could have used more of you. Did they really have a troll? I don't know how the Twatha found us, but if they had a troll, it couldn't have been an accident. Fate was kind to collapse that doorway behind you, or they would have chased us into the glade. We started building here when they found Prismere in the mines nearby. Never thought we'd see Twatha this far out west, though. The well was incredible, but it took armloads of Prismere crystals to keep the thing active. That's why we built it so close to the Stone Candle mines. They even put in a few tunnels to deliver the crystals directly into the well. I told them it wasn't safe. Looks like I was right. Again. Fate weavers? Ah, charlatans. You swears by them. But I'll be damned if I trust my future to some cards. They're technically a type of wild fae. Related to the fae of the summer and winter courts, actually. Dangerous enough in the wild. The Twatha also use them in their army. I never did trust fae to begin with. Well, those Twatha are the worst sort. They waged some sort of holy war against humans and Alpha for years now. But the front's all the way out east. What are they doing out here? How did they know about this place? Hughes ran off, you say? I wouldn't worry too much. The old man's tougher than he looks, and he's always got a plan. Good luck out there.
Berry eater. You. I remember you. You're the one? How did you come back? How did you find me here? No, I had no idea anything like that would happen. The Well of Souls is bigger than one gnome's pet project. My employer pays for information about its progress. I just send the reports to make some money on the side. I never wanted anyone to get hurt. I don't have... Okay, here. It's all I've got, plus what I got paid for the information. I don't want any part of this. I'm going home to Odessa.
You've come from the tower, haven't you? Name's Agarth. Maybe you can help an old fate weaver, eh? Did he? Poor old Fomerus Hughes. He respected the way the world works. What a shame. He's probably dead by now. When he started his experiments here, he asked me if they'd ever be successful. The cards told me that the Well of Souls would work, but its success would come on the day that Hughes was to die. The old man took it pretty well, honestly, although we did a lot of drinking after that. I suppose I could spare a little help in memory of Hughes, or in celebration of his success. Whichever. You're the one. Then that means... it all makes sense now. The cards this morning. I drew the Gravedigger, the Running Man, and the Beast. Prepare yourself. They're coming.
Forgot!
How? What are you? The threads of fate. I've seen them before, but I've never seen anyone manipulate them like that. You just changed how the world was supposed to work. How did you do that? You just... Fate is the will of the gods. No mortal should be able to change it. How is that even possible? Come here. I'm going to do a reading. You might be able to change the threads, but fate will still have a plan for you. I promise not to tell you if I see your death. That would be my guess. He was an academic, but he had a proper respect for fate's plan, unlike most gnomes. You're nervous. Relax. This is what fate weavers do. I'll be seeing your place in the pattern of destiny. Who you are, what you've done, where your path takes you. Or, at least, I should be. You're real, right? I swear I haven't had that much... Fate's weave is always hard to see. It's in motion, hard to make out, but undeniably there. Yours is just... missing. This doesn't make sense. All mortal creatures have a place in the pattern. You should have one too, dead or not. If this is true, and I'm not saying I believe it, then your path is yours to determine. It could mean nothing, or it could mean everything. The world is changing. You might be a sign of that, or maybe the cause. I've never had a reason to doubt my own readings, but we should consult with Arden. He's not a friend, but he's got a good eye for the tapestry. I'll meet you at his home to the east. I'm going to see if I can be of any help to the wounded at the tower. Once I was Agarth the Unyielding, the Blade of Avgrum. I wrestled the Colossus priestess and declined knighthood by the High King of the Fae. I was a hero of men, but that wasn't enough for me. I joined the Fate Weavers, hoping to find a way to conquer destiny itself. Turns out fate is the one thing I couldn't fight. You can find Arden's little cottage in the middle of Joven. Had to move there when he got run out of town. He's a damned good fate weaver, but that doesn't make you very popular, especially not in dark days like these. We are all threads in the tapestry of fate, measured, woven, and cut according to a great plan. Fate weavers undertake the task of reading those threads. Our title always was a bitter lie, since we have no control over how that tapestry is woven. But you do. And when a fate weaver looks at your place in the weave, we see only the shapes of what you may choose to become. The fate weavers were once a great, unified order of sages from all the mortal races. We foretold the destinies of kings and gods. But that power takes a toll. Nobody likes bad news, and all the news in the world is getting worse. The Order splintered long ago. Now the old traditions are all but lost, and all I foretell is the fate of my beer. And I see it being empty soon. The Tuatha aren't like any Fae I've ever known. They're cruel, bloodthirsty, and savage. Why, they're practically human. Hughes was always an odd one. Curious and determined as any of his kind, sure. He never shut up about his work. But he always knew what was important. He didn't worry about dying as long as he knew he'd get the well working. That's just it. I don't know if you've got one, but that's why we're going to see Arden. He lives in a little hut to the east in Yulven. I'll meet you there. What could this all mean?
Interesting. You're not at all what I expected to find here. I trailed a band of Tuatha to this place. They killed the Fate Weaver. I was hoping his corpse would give me an idea of why they were here. Now I know. They were hoping to find you. Knowing you, you're definitely involved. But something tells me I know you better than you knew yourself. Don't you remember me? I'm hurt. No time for introductions now. The Tuatha are still on the move. I'm certain that we'll see one another again. Soon. Be on your way.
What happened here? Arden's dead. How did this happen? Why would they have come here? Why kill a harmless old Fate Weaver? They couldn't know that you were headed here. I mean, the stingy bastard owes me a week of drinks. Doesn't mean he deserved to be murdered. I was hoping to avoid this, but I think I'm going to have to take you to Delok. It's a sacred place to we Fate Weavers. Somewhere that I was hoping to avoid. I was hoping Arden could take you, but I guess it comes down to me. No reason getting anyone else killed over it. Go, I'll meet you there. Once I give Arden a proper funeral. This is twice now I've buried the bodies left in your wake. It's good you're here. I was beginning to think you were just something I saw in the bottle. Welcome to the ruins of Delok. Yes, it doesn't look like much, but in these ruins lies the Theater of Fate, the ancient home of the Fate Weavers. Come with me. No telling what we'll find down there. He died before his time. But I can't imagine many tears will be shed for him. You tell enough futures and soon you won't have any friends left. The Theater of Fate was once an Irathi stronghold. Mortals and immortals worked together to build a site of total understanding. Since then, it's been lost, rediscovered, and abandoned all over again. Mortals can't stand the knowledge, and immortals simply don't care. It's the ruins of the Theater of Fate. This is where the first Fate Weavers learned how to read the weave. They left their wisdom behind in the Destiny Stone. I'm hoping that the stone will tell me who you are. Ever since this place was abandoned, strange beasts have moved in. Stay close. This place has been abandoned for so long that some Fate Weavers think it's just a legend. The theater can show us the whole tapestry of fate, laid bare. We can do nothing to change it, or prevent its horrors. Well, most of us can't. After all those years of hiding in a bottle, it's good to see some action again. If only one last time. I've seen this moment. I'm sorry, my friend. This is as far as I can take you. Your future is I'm still alive. He was supposed to... Do you have any idea what you've done? What sort of power you're playing with? You absorbed everything he was, everything he would do. You changed the weave of destiny itself. Because of you, there are deeds he won't do. Children of his that won't be born. Victims that won't die when they were supposed to. Yes, I'm aware. But there's still no telling what damage you could do if you aren't careful. You're much more dangerous than I thought. We need to get you to the Theater of Fate right away. We Fate Weavers never fully understood the power of this place. Seems there's a lot we don't understand. Gods, I should have brought another bottle. No surprise that Niskaru found its way to this place of power. Everything about these ruins is dedicated to this room, and at the center of it all is the Destiny Stone. With it, the Fae taught the Fate Weavers the answers to the deepest mysteries of fate. Put your hands on the stone, and maybe we can find answers to your own mysteries. This temple was built by the Arathi, and it's been here as long as recorded history. But the Destiny Stone was made by the first Fate Weavers. The legends say that they drew on ageless wisdom to build the stone. But with our order so scattered now, it hasn't been used in years. The Niskaru are hideous creatures of chaos and corruption. They hated the Arathi, but unlike them, the Niskaru still stalk our world. Thankfully, they've mostly been driven back from the Feylands, but you still find a few lurking deep underground. Just put your hand on the Destiny Stone. It'll show me where you fit into the tapestry of fate. The Destiny Stone came apart at your touch, and all around you the tapestry of fate, unweaving itself. And there at the core was the Codex of Destiny, the wisdom that the Fae used to help the first Fate Weavers understand the nature of the weave. Don't you see what this means? Yes, it is. And from what I can tell, you're the one changing it. With every breath, you're changing how lives begin and end. The way the Codex of Destiny came to you out of the stone. That's got to mean something, too. But I'll be damned if I can read this thing. As dangerous as an open flame. You could help people or destroy them entirely. When you get involved, there's no grand cosmic plan. Only freedom. And all the dangers that come with it. And that means I owe you, Wait. What's that?
Purge the abomination! In the name of Godflaw!
Well, this looks like some fun.
Another victim!
Who are you? How do we know you're not working with the Tuatha?
I don't care if you trust me. I'm much more interested in your friend here. I'm beginning to think that these Tuatha don't like you. Now, why do you think that might be? After all, someone who can change the fate of the world, who wouldn't want you? I'm not sure, but they're very well informed about your location. They came straight here from Didenhill, but they're not nearly as interesting as you. Especially now that they're dead. Now it's my turn. Why are you here? Ha! Knowing the future is for fools. Who reads the end of a book before it's time? Save your attention for the present. Like that codex you found? Our scholars thought those were all gone from the world. But you're just full of surprises. Good luck understanding it. That's Fey knowledge. They don't even have a written language. The stone is simply embedded with what they know, unseeable to mortals. Why worry about the little fish, when deeper waters hold the more interesting secrets? There's more to this than you understand. I don't have the answers for you, but I know someone who might. When you're ready, meet me at the House of Ballads. I'm sure the Fae would love to meet you. Be on your way.
We can't trust her. Never met a Darkelfar who'd give me a straight answer, even with a sword at their throat. But she wasn't wrong about that codex. Just be careful doing anything she suggests. Meanwhile, we can't just ignore the Tuatha that are tracking you. We need to do something about them. She said they came through Didenhill, didn't she? They don't belong in these lands, so they probably left a trail wide as an Eden's backside. Meet me there, and we'll track them down. Maybe we can find out why they're after you, or at least how they can find you so easily. I've got some final rites to perform before I leave this place. Good luck.
Hope they fed well up north in the mission.
It's your fault that I can't pay my tab, you know? I wasn't ever supposed to come back here in the first place. I've spent the last 20 years knowing what fate had in store for me, and then you... Damn it. I thought I had my life figured out. I know. It's just... I wasn't always the man I am now. In my youth, I was quite the warrior. I fought beasts the size of trees, was celebrated by mortals and Fae alike. When I was initiated into the Fate Weavers, I thought it was a reward for my good deeds. The first time I saw my own fate, I realized it was nothing but a curse. My own death, of course. But not a hero's death as I had always dreamed. I was going to die alone and unknown. Killed by an Etin and used for stew. It was a terrible end, but I knew it was part of fate's greater plan. Then you came and changed that future. You stole my part in the tapestry. I was at peace with knowing the worst. But what do I do now that there's nothing to know? You're right. My glory days don't have to be over, and as long as I'm around you, I don't know how my story will end. That means I've got to make sure you stay around in one piece. Maybe this old trinket from my youth will help. After all, I don't just owe you my life. I owe you my future. Why, I once tracked a Yeth of Avgrun on a moonless night by smell alone. Fey or not, I could have tracked those Tuatha sober. They've set up in a cavern north of town, complete with some way of scrying your location. That's how they found you so easily. I have a plan, but it'll take the both of us to work. These soldiers were sent out with one purpose: finding you and making sure you stay dead. Everything else, the Well, Arden, Hughes, have all been collateral damage. They're using something big to track you. They call it the Eyes of Tirnoch. Smash it, and they won't be following you anymore. The main entrance is heavily guarded and will require a strong attack. The other route is trapped. It'll need a subtler approach. I don't have an answer for that. I can't imagine what about you made Gadflow send his troops across the continent. Straightforward and direct. A warrior after my own heart. I'll cover the back and make sure they can't escape to report back to whoever sent them here. Let's track down some trouble. This is the front entrance. You'll face their strongest guards, so it's no place for subtlety. Find their scrying mirror and smash it. I'll slip in the back and make sure none of them escape. Thanks for giving an old man another chance. It's good to know I've got a future again. And even better not to know what it is. The Crystal War, they've been calling it. 10 years ago, the Winter Fae turned violent and attacked us in force, calling themselves the Tuatha Deon. They say it's their sacred duty to cleanse the mortals from their lands. Naturally, the humans and Alpha who live here aren't so happy with that plan. It's been going back and forth for years. Where there's war, there's soldiers nervous about their fate, and that's where I come in. The Eyes of Tirnoch are two immense Prismere mirrors. Long as the Tuatha have them trained on you, they'll find you anywhere. Whoever that Aelin Shear is, I don't think she's our enemy. If she wanted us dead, she could have killed us while we were weakened. But she's still trouble. Reminds me of a dark elf who left me half naked and tied to a bar guest once. Now those were the days. Gadflow is just some trumped-up fae who started hearing voices, I gather. But a crazy with an army is still a threat, sure enough. The Destiny Stone showed us the tapestry of fate, but your power must have consumed it all. Everything except the wisdom at its core, the Codex of Destiny. The Immortals inscribed their knowledge of fate into the living stone. I always thought it was a poetic way of talking about the theater, but there it is, in your hands. Keep it close, child. Just go inside and find those scrying mirrors. Don't worry, I'll be coming along to help. Good luck. I'll see you inside.
The undying mortal has grown tired of running, has she? Decided to fight back? Can you tell me the difference between a creature of nature and a child of dust like yourself? We children of nature know our roles. Meek and mighty, prey and predators, life and death, all serve the cycle. You children of dust do not know your place. You come into our land. You come to face your hunters. And you don't know when to die. You shall learn. In time, all mortals will know the might of Gadflow. Blessed herald of the merciful Tirnoch. All mortals end, even if some are more persistent than others.
At least the Tuatha won't be able to track you so easily now. But it looks like you've got the personal attention of their king, Gadflow. If you were anyone else, I'd suggest you start running and not stop for a few years. But you might just have a chance. You're doing well, so far. You've blinded them here, and they haven't killed you yet. And much as I hate to say it, you'll need to take Aelin Shear up on her offer of help. The Codex of Destiny should hold some answers for you. For all I know, you've already met her in the House of Ballads. But it sounds like she's the only lead now. We should be able to get out this way.
Proceed no farther, mortal. You are not one of our kind, and the seat of Sir Sagrel will never be occupied by one so mundane. Hallam the White prepares the contest, and he must not be interrupted at this our time of greatest need. I am known as the Squire. It is my duty to assist the Chancellor of the House of Ballads in all of his many endeavors. Hallam treats me well, and it is an honor to serve. The mortals in Gorehart believe they have established a permanent settlement, but they are sadly mistaken. Those homes will crumble, those graves will multiply. Trees may be cut down, vines stripped away, but the forest will return, and it will not suffer the footsteps of men. Neither will the Fae. The House of Ballads is home to the Court of Enchantments, where our heroes congregate and train before performing the feats that made them legends. There are 3 main structures on the grounds. The Court of Enchantments itself features the Wall of Saga, which depicts the most noteworthy songs in our canon. The Hall of Accolades is where the finest Fae crafters offer their services. Trainers can be found in the Summer Sanctuary, where we go when seeking enlightenment. It is to fill an unoccupied seat in the House of Ballads. This is not a mortal concern. If Hallam learns I told you, he may see to it that I am banned from the telling. He was one of our most beloved knights, a Ballad's treasure. I can't bear to think of him dead, now across the sea, a warrior for our savage cousins in the Winter Court. I did not fear them in previous seasons. They were our allies, as important to us as the autumn is to spring. But the Tuatha have upset the balance. This new breed of mad Fae has seized the Court of Winter in its grip. There can only be a summer and a winter. There is no other third order if we crave balance. The storyteller leads us all in the telling of the great songs of the Summer Court. He administers our house and serves our great knights in the Court of Enchantments. Only the greatest heroes of the summer may be counted among the Court of Enchantments. Gwenson, Belmaid, Ferrara, Olaine, Aermer, and Creth. Their glory unites all Fae in a common narrative. It is one of the few things our people share. Goodbye.
And here I was beginning to think that you'd never show up. This is Glionel, Lawmaster of the House of Ballads. Give the Codex over to him, and he may have your answers. You haven't been around much, have you? The Tuatha have been pressing west from their home in Alabastra. Right now, they're only threatening my people. But if we fall, the Tuatha will turn their eyes to the other mortal races. Glionel's one of the greatest balladeers amongst the Fae, and the most learned lawmaster you'll find outside of Issa. And as it happens, he owes me a favor. None of us could have foreseen the rise of Gadflow and his army, but we should have, and now we're all facing the price. The Fae do not have a written language, so their tales are their lifeblood, their history, and their future all in one. The House of Ballads is where they enshrine these legends and celebrate them time and again. I'm a woman of many talents, and we're all taught that we must use our talents for the greatest good, right? For a long time, they were content to keep to their play of the summer and winter courts. Now we fight Gadflow and the Tuatha for our very existence. The Tuatha are a radical sect of Fae within the Winter Court, led by Gadflow and his insane rants about their new god. They've taken power and declared war on mortals. They use raw Prismia to enhance their power, and their devotion borders on madness. But the most terrifying thing to the Fae is simply the fact that their siblings have changed so completely. A close friend once told me, strive to be whatever you want to be. Fate might be a lie, but if it isn't, then worrying about it won't change a thing. We've known for a long time that Prismia crystals allow us to store and focus magical power. The gnomes use it in their grander inventions, when they can get it. But we have no idea how Gadflow got a hold of so much of it. It makes his Tuatha the most dangerous army I've ever seen. The Winter Court, or the Unseelie, embrace the destruction and decay of nature. They aren't evil, but they aren't exactly the best of friends. Normally they share power peacefully with the Summer Court. But since the Tuatha have seized power, there is neither peace nor predictability. The Codex of Fate is no simple law stone. It's more subtle and complex than any mortal could comprehend. But a law master of ballads may be able to interpret it. The Summer Court, or the Seelie Fae if you prefer, embody the growth and energy of nature, but they can still be as aloof and uncaring as a brutal summer day. The current High King of the Fae is Titarian, the wisest of the Summer Court. While Gadflow has undermined the Winter Court, he tries to keep their cycle in balance. Lore Master Glional has devoted centuries to the study of lore and ancient Fae stories. The codex he found isn't just any lore stone. Just talk to him, and I'm sure he'll be able to shed some light on the issue. Be on your way.
What does the telling require? You must be Lady Shear's friend. She speaks very highly of you. An occasion rare enough to be worth recording in its own right. But let's see this codex. The fabled Codex of Destiny. When the Fate Weavers formed their order, our High King gave his own wisdom to assist them. To have such knowledge in your hands is a tremendous gift, but why did it reveal itself to you? Nonsense. All children of dust have a story that is written before you see your first dawn. Now, I can only make out some parts, but this is odd. The Codex speaks of an exception, a void, an end to the endless. This is simply too much. The High King would never pawn such absurdity off as wisdom. I'm sure you think it is. I fear you must have been taken in by a forgery. A perfectly created one, perhaps, but a forgery nonetheless. But this codex speaks of impossible things, changes to fate, death of the immortals, and other heresies. To ascribe these lies to the High King would be... I'm sorry, but I must ask you to take it away. I will have no part in these lies. As antiquarian, I'm keenly aware of the lesser ballads in Fae telling, and do my best to ensure that they're not lost in the wide river of time. I'm keeper of the Echo Stone here in the House of Ballads. It has only come to us recently, but I find its purpose most fascinating. He is an offense to our people. He upsets the natural order, and his war breaks the cycle. I will speak no more of him. For you, tales are naught but a reminder of your inevitable decline. But for the Fae, our tales are eternal reminders of our truest selves. Here we celebrate the very heart of our kind. The greatest of our tales, reborn and relived. It is a new relic crafted by several of our most attuned Fey mages. Usually the notion of new repels me, but in this case, I can't help but feel a spark of curiosity. The Echo Stone can be used like a lore stone to experience past narratives, stories that have long since left the lips of their tellers. However, one can only use the Echo Stone if he has the right matching cairn, a magical key devised by Hallam the White himself. Every creature has its story, the wake it leaves behind in its travel. That is a telling. It is a narrative of defeats and victories that give every life meaning. Our Fey telling goes on from creation deep into the hidden end. Until then, we celebrate the small songs, the ones that celebrate the spring in which we find ourselves. The role of the storyteller is the most important to the Fae in the Court of Summer. He watches the telling as it unfolds. His gaze is not on one ballad, but all of them. We are the story that is told in every age, with different words, but the same meanings. We are the blazing summer and the brooding winter, forever following one another. We are as we have always been and shall ever be, no more and no less. Is there a meaning to it? Only its author could tell you. Do not bother me with such foolishness again.
Lionel spends his life cherishing old stories, but show him something truly new, and he dismisses it. Tragic. First of all, we ignore this fool. Most Fae aren't comfortable with change, and you are certainly something new. I'm afraid that only one person will really be able to help us with the Codex, the High King himself. It will be difficult. His court is in the city of Isa. Very few mortals are permitted in its gardens. I do know one individual who can grant you permission to enter, but you'll have to meet him alone. Nirelem is a private person, and he carries a grudge against me, although perhaps person isn't the right word for him, nor is him. You'll find him in southeast Dalantoth at Caer Nirelem. Just head towards the giant tree, and, well, you'll see. That old coward. He may have lived 100 heroic lives, but he's lost the moment he faces something truly new. Pathetic. Titarian isn't quite what you'd expect from the High King of Summer, but he hasn't got the arrogance of his cousins, or their cheer. Ever since Gadflow killed the High King of Winter and started the war, Titarian has become distant and melancholy, and blind to the dangers around him. You'll have to meet him on your own. I'd accompany you, but Nirelem and I have our disagreements. Good luck with Nirelem, and ignore anything he says about me.
The curious one seeks a way to the Fae, but it has found its way to the boughs of the World Tree instead. Rest, Quickling, and I may study you. My roots spread wide and deep, and I have heard what brought you here, but I cannot see where you go hence. The time of the Fae is passing. I must shelter them in their twilight and protect them from the corruption that spreads in their kin to the east. The gardens of fate are clear to me, and all that ever shall be are visible in its blooms. Isa's end has always been certain. Buried beneath Prismere blades, I can only hold back the tide. But you, perhaps you can change the currents. Where you tread, you mark all you touch. Before I would help you, I must know. Will you be a kind gardener, or a careless reaper. Like all quicklings, you are eager to act. I would rather see the method of your action. A tribe of trolls has been corrupted with Prismir. Their matriarch, Nash, has united the clans in the first step on the path of Dalantarth's demise. You can change this fate, but to what? In doing so, you may awaken a more dangerous threat, like your ally, Aelin Shear. She walks a deep and tangled path, one that you walked alongside her before your death. But your path is your own now. Defeat Nash. Remove the taint of Prismir. Then I shall see who you are. If not, who you will become. The troll matriarch. Prismir has corrupted her, making her cruel, cunning, and far more ambitious than her brethren. She bears the marks of the Tuatha, and she shares their murderous intent. The last great Fey city, at once the birth of their dream, the throne of their great realm, and the deathbed of their kind. In thanks to High King Titarian, my bows stand vigil over their city in their twilight. Only by my leave may visitors see them in their weakness. I am as world trees have ever been since the dawn of time. I watch, I understand, and I remember. To creatures of flesh like yourself, Prismir is a powerful tool to harness magic. But to creatures of pure magic, like Tuatha or trolls, Prismir is so much more. To them, it is a curse, a blessing, and a rapture all in one. It drives them and consumes them, and to the weak-willed, it corrupts them utterly. The fates of quicklings are very simple. Growing, consuming, expanding, dying, and always rushing predictably along your paths. You are unique among them. You decide your own direction. But does that mean you will choose anything different? Aelin Shear is a mystery and a simplicity. She is focused in a way few quicklings are. Her dedication is true, but I do not know the cause. Together you have walked dark paths beneath my boughs. You knew one another before your death, or thought you knew each other. Like the sun in the sky, they knew me when I was a sapling, and they will know me when I rot. But they will never know change, nor how to save themselves from their patterns. Only one Fae has ever truly changed, and he now leads an army to destroy your kind. I can no longer ignore the quicklings like your kind, who rush through the world, ever anxious, ever eager, ever evolving, but never changing. Fools who hack at my roots and burn, and sometimes sages who hang from my branches and learn. The troll matriarch and her brood await at Haxi. Their corruption burns my roots and threatens our future. Walk your path and watch your ally.
I thought I'd find you here. That damned tree sent me. He has roots and branches all through the forest, but I was so hoping you'd be enough of a distraction for me to pass unnoticed. He said we should walk this path together. Thought I could help you, or maybe that you could help me. I've never met Nash. Trolls and Darkofar rarely invite each other to tea. But if she's matriarch of a clan, you can be sure that she's strong. And if she's so corrupted that Niralim is nervous about her, then she must pose a bigger threat than most trolls. Let's not keep Nash waiting. Trolls aren't normally this well organized. Even the biggest clans never built dens this deep. Looks like the Tuatha have been working here for a long time. If they've come this far inland, we're all in grave danger. Prismir, what have the Tuatha done to her? Nice work. I see you haven't forgotten how to handle yourself in a fight. Still, this is bad. I didn't think the Tuatha would reach this far. At least not so soon. Obviously, the Tuatha have bigger plans than just killing you. Infusing the trolls with Prismir, trying to bring the war to Dalentarth? Niralim was right to be concerned. To the contrary, until you came along, she was destined to rampage across Dalentarth, at least, if you believe Niralim. Go, talk to the tree. I'm sure he'll let you into Issa now. I'll finish off any Tuatha hiding in this den. You can tell the old mossy log yourself. I'll be tracking down any other Tuatha that may have come this far west. I'll find you again when the time's right.
You return, and in your wake, Dalentarth blossoms. The flow is rearranged, now and forever. Nash's brood is at an end. You have destroyed what was written, and made a new fate for Dalentarth. Even your darkest ally walks a lighter path. And yet the Tuatha still spread, marching with Prismir and pain. You have only delayed our doom. You have the power of an immortal, and yet the humility to ask for help. Little one, I envy your grace. You shall carry my blessings with you. You must know this, Quickling. The age is changing. Immortals are passing, and the future belongs to the young races. If there is a future to be had. Go, and stand at the heart of the She. There you will find Isa, and perhaps you will find wisdom as well. Nash and her brood would have spread across Dalentarth and brought the taint of Prismere with them. So it forever was to be, until you set about to stop it. Only the path of your own choosing. Stand at the heart of the She, and if that path includes the gardens of Isa, I shall allow it. May your path be long and evergreen.
Welcome to the Gardens of Isa, home of the Summer Court and the warm heart of the Feylands. It is a rare occasion for us to welcome a child of dust into Isa, but it is equally rare that Niralim chooses a champion. Pleased to meet you. I am Chancellor to the High King. I pray you enjoy our hospitality. High King Titarian is Lord of the Summerfey, the font of all our wisdom, and first amongst the immortals. And since Godflow tragically murdered the High King of the Winter Court, Titarian is the greatest and last true leader left of our kind. Too many mortals misunderstand the Winter Court. Our cold cousins are not evil, but merely evoke the darker truths of nature, from subtlety to decay. Perhaps it makes sense that children of dust are put off by those who embody their inevitable death, but it is regrettable that so many are misunderstood. Truly a place of wonder, as it has always been and always shall be. Here springs the life well of Dalentarth, and the greater Feylands in all directions. It is a pity that some of our kind have fallen to such degenerative states, but we cannot shed a tear for their weakness. We are the Summer Court, the very embodiments of courage, honor, and all things bright and proud. Some envious few in the Winter Court would call us arrogant and self-righteous, as well as all manner of other epithets. But remember, we are the ones who stayed true to tradition, while they turned to barbarism. The Tuatha find new recruits from our ranks. The sapling of the World Tree bears centuries of great wisdom. Of course, long-lived as Niralim is, it is still regrettably mortal. Even all greatest mortal wisdom cannot compare to the perspective given by true agelessness. Begging your pardon, of course. The ranks of the Fae were not always sullied by the presence of anything so coarse as the Tuatha. Once, the Summer and Winter Courts existed in harmony. But Godflow perverted the Winter Court with talk of his new god, and from that poison, the Tuatha arose.
It's been a long time since
Conceived in chaos, birthed in stolen magic. torn from fate. Child of two fathers. Treacheries in treacheries. Winter is broken. The puppet king upon his throne, drinking flattery and lies. The power that grows in him is not his own. In the east it did begin, as it will end. From behind the veil she screams. Madness and rage. Madness and rage. We realize this may be confusing for you. Fate, like the Fae, cannot be changed. But the Tuatha are Fae who have become something new, and you are a mortal who is free from Fate's weave. Gadflow claims that the Tuatha are the work of his new god. If the Tuatha are the creations of a god, what does that make you? The time of the Fae is passing. Our land and our souls are diminishing. Few Fae even realize that the great cycle is shifted. Gadflow's war means the death of us all, Fae and mortal alike. It is written in the weave that we shall all pass from this world together. It is too late for us, but not for you. That is the fate which I look to you to change. The power of a god in the brash hands of a mortal. This is why Niralim fears what you might become. This age has seen much change. Change we once thought was impossible. We were wrong. You are intertwined with the power in the East. There can be no doubt of that. Your energy reaches back to Alabastra. We do not know what will happen when you travel there, but we know that the power behind Gadflow is your ultimate goal. His god holds your answer and the fate of this world. I thank you, and perhaps you can help change our world's fate as well. I have seen those who were destined to be heroes, for whom great deeds came naturally. They come, they act, and they pass on as written. You do great things not because you must, but because you choose to. That is by far a far truer greatness. Admirable, but strength of will cannot see you through this alone. You may be unbound by fate, but you are not free from death. Speak with your allies. Only with their aid can you hope to overcome the forces that stand against you. It is the deepest tragedy that our fall should come from our own. Make no mistake, Gadflow is the harbinger of the end of my kind. In fighting him and his army, you will surely spell our doom. For that tragic truth, we forgive you. Our cold cousins across the sea. Do not think the Winter Court our enemies, for we love them as family, dismal though they may be. Oh, to walk in their starlit gardens once again, or sip their calming stone tea. But the Tuatha have consumed them, and all of their wonders are lost. We are the dreams of warmth and safety, given physical form. But these dreams are endangered by Gadflow and the long winter. The weave is a puzzle. Each person is a piece, the edges of their fate locking together with the people around them, all performing their duties to form a grand picture. However, you are no longer a puzzle piece. You are a dollop of paint, You cover and redefine the edges of the puzzle pieces you meet. But more dangerously, you repaint the picture of reality itself. Who can trust that your design is better than the original? Since our kind returned to this world so long ago, it has been my honor to serve as High King of the Summer Court. My rule was always shared with the High King of the Winter Court, until Gadflow arose. Now both of our people are in peril. The Summer and Winter Courts have always ruled the Feylands in harmony, as the seasons wash across the world. But with Gadflow's new god, something changed. The Winter Fae who followed him called themselves Tuatha, and bore a mark of Prismeer upon them. Their power has grown, and yet they are diminished.
Who would have thought you were so interesting? Death seems to have worked out very well for you. Agarth's looking for escape, Nerelim's looking for a savior, and Tatarian is looking for a champion, and somehow, you're giving everyone what they want. I'm impressed. You're right. This won't be easy. The Tuatha have our forces under siege at Mel Senshir, and their power has only grown over the years. You'll need more help than just me and that old Fate Weaver. You'll need an army. A few years ago, one warrior could have slipped past unnoticed, but stealth is no longer an option, not even for me. But there is hope. In the plains of Erethel there waits a player who has been away from this game for far too long. It is time to contact General Telera. Meet me in the village of Emer, and I will tell you everything. We are the charmed, the subtle, and the inspired. In happier days, we were the loftiest of the mortal races. We despise open war. But for decades, the Tuatha have been at war with us, pushing into our lands and forcing us to take up arms. The gardens of Isa, home of the Summer Fae, once spread from the forests of Dalentarth, across the plains of Erethel, and even through the deserts of Ditir. Between the madness of the war and the spread of man, Alfar, and Gnome, the Summer Fae lose a little more ground every day. A tragedy for them. General Telera was in charge of our forces to the east in Cluracan, but a decade ago, Witch Knight Malwyn and his Tuatha army drove her forces back. Since then, she's been looking for some way to take back the land she lost and regain her honor. You might be just the help she needs. Be on your way. Thank you for coming all this way. I don't know if you heard that, but it sounds as if General Telera is still here in exile. For all but losing the fortress of Mel Senshir. Long ago, Telera led our forces, but then the Tuatha produced a foe she could not best. Her forces barely survived the retreat out of Cluracan. Many blamed her for the loss, to have built up hopes so high, only to have them topple. That was Telera's crime, and she has paid for it, day after day. You're as quick as ever. Telera is in the cradle of summer, banished from the battlefields of Mel Senshir until she can atone for her past. According to the Fate Weaver here, she seeks an artifact from Ural Tusk that might break the siege and aid our forces. But she cannot do so alone, for poor Telera is fated never to succeed. That is where you can help. In a hidden valley, northwest of the plains of Erethel, the ruins of Ural Tusk lie undisturbed, as they have for many centuries. What Telera wants there is beyond me, but I trust her, even if it goes against my better judgment. Last I heard, General Telera was somewhere in northern Erethel, searching for a way to turn the tide of the war. I think she took a squad to Ural Tusk. You should be just what the General's looking for.
Hail. I am General Talera ap Gwydion, former commander of the Eastern Alpha Forces. Surely you're not the aide Aelin Shear promised. She spoke as if she planned to send a whole squad of soldiers, not one faceless mercenary. So, she is behind this. That woman. One too many times she's meddled in my affairs, making promises she never intends to keep. Well, perhaps it is for the best. The fewer people involved in my affairs, the better. You see, misfortune follows closely at my heels. It is the lot fate has cast for me. The Baelor is a thing of dread, a Niskaru lord that the Tuatha managed to coerce into fighting on their behalf. Against the Tuatha I had some success, but no ordinary weapon can best the Baelor. One must fight darkness with light. Earl Tusk, the tomb of the divine fang, the piercing light. With a weapon like that, I could rally the troops at Melsen Shear, and perhaps redeem myself. They say the ruin is guarded by legions of Niskaru, led by a beast known as Azagal. Whether this is true, or the stuff of legend, I don't know. We may be lofty, but we are not weak. Our land is cold and harsh, and we have long studied the noble arts of bow and blade. Across 1,000 battlefields, my spear paints a red masterpiece. Melsen Shear is the gateway into Cluracan, but it's been under siege ever since my defeat. I failed the city once. I can't fail them again. With Tuatha raiding parties along the shores, Rathir has the only port for safe passage across the strait. But after assisting Melsen Shear for so many years, the ruling council of Rathir is loath to offer more aid for what they see as a lost cause. 10 years ago, I served the Alpha armies, defending Cluracan and Melsen Shear from the Tuatha armies. Then, Witch Knight Malwyn led his Tuatha summoners against us. The fiends routed my soldiers at every turn. Now they've had Melsen Shear under siege for years, while I've been searching for a weapon to turn the tide. The years have been long since I first learned of the means that might deliver Melsen Shear from the Tuatha. It lies in Earl Tusk, beyond a gate fated never to be opened, in a hall awash with Niskaru. Any who seek access to the ruin must face them. These ruins are said to be the resting place of the Piercing Light, a spear carved from the tusk of the Niskaru Duke, Gajor. The legends say it destroys any horror, in the mind or on the battlefield. No place is more deserving of such a power as Melsen Shear. For all my years of research, I've only ever found one clue to this puzzle: when the great voices rise in song. It may refer to the wind stones scattered across the plains. They bear a striking resemblance to the stones of this ruin. But that's simply me grasping at answers. Take this chime. It is said to have been taken from the ruin during its construction many centuries ago. I've tried using it on the windstones with no luck. Long after the Arathi left our world, the mortals built these windstones to call them back down. I've never seen them work, but, as I said before, I'm not known for my good fortune. The inscription says the gate will open when the great voices rise in song. I think this means the windstones that are spread across Erethel. There's one just a little to the south. Go there and strike this chime near it. I'll stay here to see if it has any effect. The wind stones are located all across the plains.
Be mindful of your actions.
can't believe it. The gate shifted? For all my efforts, you simply appear and make it respond. No. You've opened one part of the gate, but 4 more remain. You must find the wind stones scattered throughout the plains and activate them. I will remain here. The Niskara will sense that the seal is weakened. Someone must try to hold them back. Go sound the chime at each windstone in Arethel. That's the only way to open the gates. I'll stay here and fight any Niskara looking to sneak past us. You've done it. The ancient Irathi sealed this place centuries ago, and it opens to welcome you. Incredible. The piercing light should be in the deepest vault of these ruins. Be careful. The Niskara will do anything to keep us from that spear. The piercing light awaits. The Niskaru took everything from me. My soldiers, my station, everything. All my life burned when Balor rose over the fields of battle. These Niskaru, they were not always in the war. It wasn't until the witch knight Malwyn started making pacts with them that they fought alongside the Tuatha. We're close now. I've heard that the spear is guarded by the Niskaru warrior Azagal. We will learn if it still is. I see the spear. The Niskara were sure to press the attack. You must hold them off. I don't know what to feel. All the years I spent trying to claim this weapon, and I never truly thought I would. I was not fated to have it. Not until you came. You have thrown back the veil of fate and revealed what is truly possible. It's almost enough to make me believe in second chances. Yes, but it is so much more. This will end the siege of Mel Senshir. It will bring the death of the Balor. It will give me my chance for redemption. And I never would have laid hands on it, if not for you. Kind words, but not true. My day will come when Balor is dead at my feet, and I would be honored to have you beside me then, too. Meet me at Rathir, the city in the east. Together we will break the siege of Mel Senshir and turn the Tuatha tide. To get to Mel Senshir, we need to take a ship from Rathir, and that means convincing Elund Karth, the city's ruler. Because of my failure, Mel Senshir has suffered years of siege. Even if I kill Witch Knight Malwyn and save the city, their pain is still my fault. With the wards down, I think we can get out this way. We have a problem. Elund Karth refuses to send any troops to assist Mel Senshir. The old fool never would listen to reason. I certainly hope so. We're going to need every sword we can muster. You can find him in the upper city, staring over the strait at Mel Senshir. The fool might as well be at its funeral. They're in the city, but they can't join us unless Elund Karth grants his blessing for them to go with us. Agarth has gone to reason with him. He was a fine fighter, as I recall, but I do not know if his diplomacy is as practiced.
Then someone else will have to. Damn fool.
What do you want? I'm beset by petitioners these days. Another advocate for this absurd plan to retake Mel Senshir, I take it. Look to Rathir's sister across the strait. Her battered walls, her burned gardens, her back broken from a decade of war. We take in refugees. We send them food that we can spare. We try to ease her pain. But for 10 years I stood here and watched her die slowly. And now you, a stranger, think to convince me to commit the whole of this city to saving her because our army's greatest failure has recovered some old relic. Mel Senshir stands as Rathir's eastern shield. Even now, nearly broken, she still stands. This city can do nothing for the fortress, but perhaps its people can. The wounded we have here wish to return to fight for the fortress one last time. I'll tell them to meet you at the docks, and take this as well from my own collection. May it be of use to you in the coming battle. Do not speak to me of the war. I am the voice of Rathir, not a general or a fate weaver, nor Lyria herself, who alone controls the outcome. The City of Walls is lost to us, and we can afford no more troops for them. Better to muster our forces to counterattack after its fall. You carry with you Rathir's bravest sons and daughters. Realize that if you fail to liberate that withered wall, you will have doomed our city as well. Rathir has taken in half of Mel Senshir's population as refugees from the war. Orphans fill our poorhouses. They've never seen their parents' city and never will. I realize they long for their home, but they need to accept a painful fact. Rathir is their only home now. Mel Senshir is no more. I am the Elund, and I speak with the voice of the Orbakant. Within this city, my word is law. They have delved earthward, where we have lifted high. They think no one watches them because they are thus sheltered. The deeper they dig, the higher we will rise. They rule Rathir, and they do so from behind a veil. I am their face and their voice. Go to the eastern docks in the lower city and find Captain Dodwin. He will oversee your journey to Mel Senshir. Go. Save our sister across the sea or die with her.
The healers in the Officers' Club.
Last Tuatha I fought summoned a damned Niskaru. The ships are loading now for Mel Senshir. Are you ready to board? Right away.
Agarth, you know better than any of us how this will end. Why must we fight a war that you know we will not win?
You would still ask that to Lara, after all you've seen.
Until I get an answer, Fate Weaver. Until then.
Why do we fight? Because there is hope. Because only through battle can we break the chains that fate has forged. Don't you see?
we have been given a chance.
And though some of us will die, we will die knowing that our lives were finally our own. That we are no longer slaves to the whims of fate. Would you throw it away? Just for fear of another defeat? Not I. I will fight. And if I die knowing that I have made a choice. And this choice, for good or for ill, was my own.
What is Tulera doing back here?
General is back, just like she promised. Another 10 years, and I might have started to doubt.
Another body for the ground.
Not exactly the heroes of legend, but you're a welcome sight nonetheless. When Mel Senshir was built, the Winter Fae weren't the friendliest of neighbors, but they were nothing like the Tuatha they've become. We've been the front line of this war for the last decade. The fact that Mel Senshir still stands at all is a testament to all we've sacrificed. I was just a child before the siege started. I joined the army because I dreamed of becoming a hero like the great General Tulera. Funny thing, dreams. The General's army used to defend us, but that was before the Tuatha started summoning Niskaru to join them. Tulera's forces never stood a chance. Still, she blamed herself and went into exile. We could have used her here, but heroes only show up when you really need them, right? Those bastards keep squeezing us and squeezing us. Well, it's time for them to see what we mortals can do. Likely you've come to see the fortress before it falls. I've seen her stand for the last 10 years, but the end, I think, has finally come. Our scouts report that the Tuatha are massing, and in their wake we've seen it. The Niskaru Lord, Baelor, has come for Mel Senshir at last. Indeed, they expect us to hide behind the walls of Mel Senshir. Instead, we'll rush the field and delay the Baelor's arrival. That leaves the Witch Knight. Malwyn is the commander of the Tuatha forces, and likely the one who has made a pact with the Baelor. You and Tulera will be part of an effort to kill him. If we can kill Witch Knight Malwyn, then the Baelor may run rampant in the field, and in the chaos we can rout the Tuatha. It is much to hope for, but that's the plan. Soon. I know you're eager, but take a moment to make sure you're ready. Check your gear and say your goodbyes. When you're ready, come meet me by the gates. I'll be readying the troops. Fine day for a battle. What is it? Time is running out! Steel yourselves. The battle is not to be taken lightly. Then let us go. We've had sightings of the Tuatha vanguard. When they enter the courtyard, we will open the gates and counterattack. You and Tulera will use the distraction to execute your plan. One way or another, this will be over soon.
Hore Sunera Alfor! Our hunt for Malwyn can now begin in earnest. I will take one path and you another. If Wygland's troops hold, then Malwyn will be delayed at the outer wall with the Balor. But we should make sure he doesn't get past us. Now, we must get moving. There is no room for error.
Try that again. Someone's got to make sure these ladders stay down. And you need to move before Wygland's troops start falling back.
Finally, some reinforcements. We tried to fight off the Tuatha, but they took most of our company prisoner. They're threatening to execute the rest unless we lay down our arms. You could get in amongst them, silently, if possible, and save what's left of the survivors. The Tuatha moved on us in such numbers, we couldn't hold them all off. I recommend you tread lightly in there. They'll probably kill any survivors if we try to mount a frontal assault. Normally, I'm a scout, but anybody that can swing a blade has to do their part today.
Chance before they can regain control of the creature. Theoden, guide my hand. For Rathir!
This ends here!
You're still alive! You've got to destroy Baelor before it tears this place apart. I know, child. Everything seemed still in that moment when she struck the Baelor. At least she died how she wanted to. But her sacrifice won't mean anything unless you do something to stop that beast.
They're gone! After 10 years, I can't believe they're finally gone! It's over. After all these years, the siege is broken, and we're alive. Thank the gods for sending you to us. This is a glorious day, but I have heard a bitter rumor in the wake of all of this. Is it true? Has Telera fallen? Then the rumors of her dishonor will finally be silenced. She gave everything to us in the end, and the world will know that. When we rebuild these walls, we'll name them after General Telera. Her memory will stand as long as the ramparts shine. But she never would have been here had you not delivered her to us. It can never be enough, but we hope you'll accept this as our thanks. Now we rebuild. Rubble from the outer walls is still blocking the gate. It will be some time before we can clear it. In the meantime, Agarth here says he's got a lead on an old friend of yours. Sounds like it might be useful. Don't worry yourself. Soon we will begin the campaign in Cluricon. How can I help you? Cluricon is all swamp, jungle, and death. Have you ever tried fighting an army in a place like this? It's hot, wet, and it always smells like something died, because something did.
What is it? You! You are my contact. I should have known. Punctuality is not one of your people's strengths, and you have so few. As Templar, the Forum demands that I do everything in my power to advance our knowledge. It is a tremendous responsibility, and one I take quite seriously. Fomorus Hughes is one of my most brilliant scholars, and as you know, his research shows tremendous potential. His recovery is of paramount importance. His knowledge is invaluable, and must not fall into the wrong hands. And I'm terribly worried about his safety too, of course. That goes without saying. My fellow Templars and I sponsor research that will lead to the betterment of all mortals. Sadly, Alfar and man alike often have trouble accepting the reason behind our decisions. But most gnomes realize we have their best interests in mind. Edessa is the greatest bastion of knowledge and understanding in the world. Alfar have their arts, mankind has its gods, but our only commandments are the solid, predictable laws of natural science. You may recall our mutual friend, Fomorus Hughes, the gnome who brought you back to life? I suspect you would, but I gather you've been quite busy. Well, Scholar Hughes has been missing since the attack on his tower. As his patron, I am quite concerned. I want you to find him. You are, how shall I say, uniquely suited to the task. Don't be obtuse. I am his patron. As such, I own everything that Scholar Hughes produces. I suppose that includes you as well. The secrets in his laboratories are meant for gnome eyes only. They must be controlled. At any cost. I could ask the same question. For all I know, Fomorus Hughes is on the run from you. I am willing to assume that's not the case. Simply put, you may be my only chance of locating Hughes, just as I may be yours. It would seem the incident in Alistar made Scholar Hughes a touch paranoid. Every time we receive a clue about his location, he vanishes before I can reach him. But he's running out of places to hide. It's my opinion that there's one hope left of finding Hughes. You. Fine. Satisfy your curiosity. As long as you keep Hughes safe, I will not stand in your way. Hughes has an old laboratory in the cavern of Saltwell Mines. I believe he's been conducting research there since the destruction of Alistar Tower. Find him, and you will be rewarded for your contribution to science. I will await your success in the Librarium in Edessa. He may have returned to his old laboratory in Saltwell Mines. But if any of my people approach, he'll flee. He's quite paranoid, for good reason.
Have I been down here so long? Is the madness so great that I see the faces of the damned before me? Or is it really you? It is! By the tome! Come closer. Let me look at you. It has been an eternity since I've seen a trusted face. Are you? In many ways, your awakening has brought me nothing but misery. But that is not your fault. I am to blame for all of it. Wait. Do you hear that sound? It could be the Sons of Laz, but it could be someone else. last we spoke, it was the Tuatha that reduced my lab to cinders. Now it's assassins. Everywhere I go, destruction follows. I have grown so weary of it, my friend. All I ever wanted was to unlock death's secrets, to shed light on the shadows. I never wanted this. Thank you for more than just your protection, for being the one good thing to come of this disaster. I have few friends, but I gladly count you among them. I trust him with my life, which is why I've been trying to contact him since I fled Alistar, but to no avail. Where is he now that I need him most? Wait, of course. He is the one I trust most, and the one who would benefit most from my death. I am a fool! Octien is behind the assassins, and now that you and I are together, he will try to kill us both. Why did I not see this before? If he could repair the Well of Souls in Alistar, then he has no need of me. Not if he has Ventrinio. Ventrinio Desilini. We used to work together, in this lab, on projects sponsored by Templar Octien. But when we were tasked with creating the well, Ventrinio sought to use any means at our disposal, regardless of the implications or consequences. Eventually, he was taken away, and I was sent to work at Alistar. But it seems he continued his work here, long enough to create those monsters. They are the animated dead, early experiments in the field of immortality. They will forever haunt these cursed caverns. Ventrinio named them after a mythical figure who rose from the dead. He looked on them and saw potential. I see only abominations. No, not me. But Ventrinio's old notes suggest that he may know a way into Alabastra. I wonder, perhaps, is it possible that you have met Ventrinio already? That would explain it. You were attuned to his well, but raised from mine. Unfortunately, the only way to find Ventrinio is to go through Templar Octien, which will not be easy now that we know of his treachery. Never. The only voice he wishes to hear is his own. We cannot deal with Octien within the boundaries of Edessa. Not alone. There is one who has the power to discredit him. Templar Joriel. She is reputed for her wisdom and strength of character. And as I recall, she and Octien do not exactly see eye to eye on matters of policy. If Joriel can make Octien answer for his crimes, then we will gain access to his information. That includes the location of Ventrinio's lab. If you wish to uncover the mystery of your death, then you will need Ventrinio. He is the key to Alabastra. Find Templar Joriel in Edessa. We don't have much evidence, but I have a feeling she will help us. My old colleague, Ventrinio Desilini. For a time we worked together under Templar Octien. He was a brilliant scholar, but a terrible person. I told Octien he couldn't be trusted and refused to work with him, but it appears the Templars simply moved him to another lab with some mysterious assistant. Ventrinio's notes reference some highly capable assistants that joined him in testing the well and collecting Prismia, but there's no mention of their identity. Whoever they are, they're clever, resourceful, and very dangerous. If we could find them, we might have a lead, or even a way into Alabastra. It's everything I've been able to put together concerning Templar Octien's crimes, with supporting evidence from Ventrinio's notes and correspondence. I always suspected I might need leverage over Octien. It seems Ventrinio felt the same. You must remember to thank him for me. Ah, Edessa, the great gnomish city-state. Knowledge, reason, and logic rule there, as do bureaucracy and intrigue. A clever gnome can go far in that city, and a wise gnome goes far away from it. The Templars rule from the Forum, and you can't get a thing done in the city without the sponsorship of one of them. They can be powerful allies, but the one thing you don't want to do is get on their bad side. I am Fomorus Hughes, scholar of vivification, prime circle. The Well of Souls was my life's work. Oh, don't call it that. You're just having a talk with Octien in the library. In return for your discretion, he'll give us what we want. I know it's unpleasant, but when you work with the Templars, you just start thinking this way. It helps you stay alive.
Of your people's memory, you bore witness to Issa's exploits. He is your legend of might and eminence. Come, listen to a tale of Issa and On, the God Storm, the Withering War.
Hold right there, newcomer. I welcome you to Edessa, but before you enter, I must catalogue your visit. Please answer the questions as truthfully as possible. It's imperative that our tallies be accurate. Now, what brings you to Edessa? Excuse my rudeness. I am Senar Bruges, tallier second class to the Domus Politica. My purpose is to sort those that come to Edessa, to welcome them to the city while maintaining the delicate balance we gnomes have achieved. They help sort the newly arrived in the city. We want to ensure that everyone is placed where they properly belong. Yes, well, at least you look more put together than some of the people that came here before you. Poor sods. With any luck, your errands go without incident. Now, where have you come to Edessa from? Alistar? You mean you've come from Fomorus Hughes' laboratory? Yes, I see it now. They were wrong about your nose, but you match the description of the one I was to look out for. We can dispense with the remainder of my questions. You are free to enter Edessa. You will be lodged in the Sandstone Villa, temporarily. This is rare, newcomer. Very rare. If I can speak frankly, I'm not sure this is the blessing you take it to be. True, you have been saved from the squalid lodgings of the Hospitalis quarters. But Sandstone Villa is reserved for, well, it is not my place to speak of it. This key will provide you with access to the villa. You would do well to be very aware of your surroundings, stranger. Now, good day. The Domus is where all of Edessa's political work is done. The Templars determine the policy, and it is there that we enact it. The Domus Politica has me tallying and sorting all new arrivals to the city. Another few years and I could be tallier, first class. Not everyone is given a villa just for arriving here. But I'd be careful. A gifted necklace can easily be a golden chain. Yes, you are now officially recorded as having entered Edessa, center of all gnomish society in the Feylands. I'm sure you'll learn about the city the more time you spend in it. It is vast, but well designed. Yes, go on.
Yes? What do you want? I am not in the habit of making conversation with strangers, especially one of your stature. Please be quick. Unlike the lofty idealism of the Alpha and the messy pragmatism of the humans, we gnomes proudly embrace the virtues of reason and order. As such, we must maintain neutrality in these periodic wars that spring up. We cannot risk tainting our knowledge by taking sides. You understand? It is an estate that I have ordered to be kept empty for when I have need of it, such as now. From their council in the Forum, the Templars guide the advancement of our society. Our tremendous successes are due to their unswerving pursuit of knowledge. Each Templar is allowed a wide degree of freedom in the projects they sponsor, but they are ultimately accountable to the rest of the Forum. The shining jewel of knowledge, an oasis of reason and order, carved by the gnomes into the dusty wilds of Datir. I see. Think very, very carefully about what you are saying. Octien is a Templar. He is in a position of the highest authority. And who, may I ask, are you? For you to accuse Octien without having a direct confession is not only meaningless, but contrary to all our procedures. Even if this were true, or even already suspected, it would have to be corroborated by Octien himself. That requires a confession. As he is not here to present the charges himself, I must assume that no such confession exists. Now, I have done all I can for you. Please, trouble me no further with this matter, especially with such insufficient evidence. We have already discussed this. Nothing short of a confession would convict him. As such, Templar Octien will remain undisturbed in the Livrarium.
Hello. I'm here to send regrets on behalf of Templar Joriel. While she wishes to extend you aid, she's stymied by protocol. What she gave you was an official response. I'm here to give you another response. A personal one. I am a political aide for Templar Joriel. I operate in a number of capacities for the Templars' official and unofficial business. My superior has suspected for some time the crimes that you've levied against Templar Octien. But like you, she is frustrated by his status. Allow me to be direct. If you can make Templar Octien publicly acknowledge his crimes, then Templar Joriel will reward you. She will be your patron of sorts. I am an aide to Templar Joriel. Usually, my work takes the form of drafting letters, taking notes of various functions, and so on. My superior is a very, very busy person. It is unfortunate that some wrongs escape her notice, and those she does notice cannot always be immediately righted. The city is a marvelous place. Recently, my work has taken me farther from its walls, for more often, and I'm sadder for it. You wish to bring the Templar to justice, yes? Then you must get him to publicly acknowledge his crimes in some form. As my superior no doubt told you, the Templar may be found in the Livrarium. I suggest you go there.
You're alive. What an unexpected and quite unfortunate turn of events. For starters, he expected you to be rotting in a sandy ditch somewhere. Supper for the carrion birds. Understand, you and I are alike. All we both want is to see this business reach its end. Did it? Here you stand, suspecting me of a great many crimes, yet unable to lift a finger. Tell me, who has the power? Or what? You'll slaughter me in a murderous rage? Typical. Your kind is as predictable as it is stupid. I'm afraid you'll find me quite hard to kill. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same for you. Attack me in this city, and I won't just have you clapped in irons. No, I'll hand you over to the scholars in the Basilica for research. A long career supporting vivification research has left me with certain advantages. You could say I'm more resilient than most of your enemies. The wise and the foolish both die. Is that justice? With the well of souls, I can change that. I can choose who deserves life. To think that yous gave away such a gift to you. Well, we've seen how you wasted your life. Perhaps I'll give Intrinio your corpse to examine. After all, you met your first death as his assistant.
It would be a reunion.
Of course. And it's such a pity you'll never find out.
Well, if setting fire to the livrarium and hiring assassins is not an admission of guilt on Octien's part, I certainly don't know what is. It is clear that we Templars must make him assume responsibility for his actions, overt as well as hidden. Even though you went against my explicit instruction, you were effective. You have my respect. Should he survive the wounds earned in battle, I should think so. To that effect, I have ordered a moratorium on all of his current studies and projects. All, perhaps, save this mysterious Well of Souls. That one will take some deliberation, considering its various ethical and societal ramifications. Regardless, gnome society is in your debt, and we always pay what is owed. Ventrinio Desalini. One name I never expected to be brought into this business. It seems he has escaped the gallows yet again. I believe your friend Scholar Hughes may be able to help. While you were here, my people found him salvaging the tomes Octien attempted to burn. Now, you must excuse me. A Templar has fallen from power, and Edessa's political buzzards are circling.
Good tidings.
What's needed?
It was my mistake to assume that Octien would go quietly, or that he would leave evidence behind. Such a waste. Some of those books he burned were centuries old, but luckily for us, I was able to salvage some from the flames. Oh, a great many prizes. Treatises on the nature of death, tables upon tables of autopsy analyses, but only one item of true value. Octien's diary. Based off of what I've read in these pages, Ventrinio has been working on an island off of Cluricon. Indeed. I hear rumors that Melsin Shear has been cleared and the army is ready to march into Cluricon and beyond. Sounds like you're to thank for that. And when you meet Ventrinio, be wary. He's a complicated figure, but a genius nonetheless. He may try to kill you the second time around as well. But regardless, he has a way into Alabastra. I hope, for your sake, he's willing to share it. Oh, I will. In fact, I believe I'll be staying in Edessa to offer what support I can. With Octien out of the way, the people will be needing a new Templar, after all. Octien's journal shows that Ventrinio's assistant died during an important mission into the heart of Alabastra. I don't know how to say this, but the date of the assistant's death is shortly before you came back to life. My old colleague, Ventrinio Desalini. For a time we worked together under Templar Octien. He was a brilliant scholar, but a terrible person.
What?
Octien seems to have gotten what he deserves. I can't say I understand gnomish politics, but Hughes is safe, and now we know where Ventrinio is. Seems like a win. No time to clean up, though. I've got news from the front lines in Cluricon. The army has been making progress in Cluricon, but the further we push, the harder it gets. The Tuatha know the land and are too well organized. But we've heard rumors of a small band of Winter Fae harassing the Tuatha somewhere in the swamps. The scouts can't track them down, but perhaps the hero of Mel Senshir could find them. Do you know the Summer Court in Issa? Well, the Winter Court are their darker siblings. They're not evil, but they're definitely not nice. Everyone thinks the immortal Fae are enigmas, but they've got it all wrong. The Fae are simple, far simpler than mortals. They never change. Even when their bodies die, they reform again, often years later.
You! Stop! State your business.
Keep your hands off me, fool. I'm no Tuatha. I must speak with the Siegebreaker. You are the one I seek. It is a pleasure to meet the Siegebreaker. Especially here, in a land where pleasure has been all too rare. I am Sidon the Outcast, Prince in exile of the House of Sorrows. I'm here to welcome you to our home. I see the hesitation in your eyes. Although I am Fae of the Winter Court, you and I have a common enemy. I am Sidon the Outcast. Once, I was Prince of the House of Sorrows, but my true duties are to the true Court of Winter. The Winter Fae have been disgraced and despoiled by Gadflo and the Tuatha. With your help, I can end their reign. Clearly I'm not Tuatha. I carry a loathing for them that mortals could never understand. I simply approached your lines peacefully and expressed my desire to speak with the Siegebreaker. It seems that even the simplest mortal soldier can recognize an ally against our mutual enemy. Indeed, you accomplished a great feat here. But the Tuatha Deon are far from defeated. Before striking the heart, you must trim the fat and cleave through the bones. If you wish to put an end to Gadflo's reign, meet my brethren and me at Foe's Hearth to the east, and we can talk further there. Yes, I traveled with Agarth back in his prime, but those are stories for another time. No need to be surprised. We know that you seek the Corpse Collector. Secrets are among our specialties. It wasn't so long ago that you were working with him here. But then, that was a lifetime ago for you, wasn't it? That little fool used to be nothing more than a capering jester in the Winter Court. That he found the power to rise against the High King and defeat him. It's enough to make you think there's something to his god, Tirnoch. The House of Sorrows is home to the lovelorn, the desperate, and those ravaged by hope. Together, my brethren and I took back what the world had taken from us. Now, the Tuatha have taken our people, our houses, and our self-respect. We grieve at these losses, but we shall take them back by whatever means necessary. I've heard of her, and I've seen her work. A dead diplomat here, a salvaged peace treaty there, a handful of lies told to protect an innocent. But even as a collector of secrets, there's precious little I know about her. Nothing could be more beautiful than a mystery like her. We have walked these lands for countless ages, always playing the same roles, always seeing to the proper cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Now, we face the end of our ways. Not from the mortals, as some had feared, but from our own kind. The Tuatha have corrupted the very soul of the Unseelie, twisting our people, stealing our noble houses, and driving our true leaders into exile. I've tried to get the Unseelie to unite against them, but by the time we realized their threat, it was too late. But I'll not give up. Prismeer has always grown in our lands, but only with the surge of magic into our world was it anything other than a simple gem. We are the remains of the Winter Fae. Refugees from the capital of Bale, outcasts from the houses, and those who escaped Prismeer Blades. The Tuatha have taken our court and our birthrights, and for that, we will take their lives to restore a balance once again. When mortals think of Fae, they prefer to think of a summer court. And why not? They're radiant and true, even if they are too full of themselves. By all means, pretend all the Fae are like them. You'd never dare go to sleep if you truly understood the rest of us. Home of my heart, and grave of my troubles. This is where the brave and foolish come to die. And in death, they feed the swift and sly. I am Sidon the Outcast. Once I was Prince of the House of Sorrows, but my true duties are to my kind. The Winter Fae have been disgraced and despoiled by Gadflow and his new god. For house and heartbreak, I shall end his reign. We're only a shadow of what we were before Gadflow poisoned our minds. Seems natural for embodiments of decay, doesn't it? But unlike our lighter siblings in the Summer Court, we'll fight to cleanse the Tuatha from our lands, just as any wounded animal would. I'd rather not talk here. Cluricon is filled with Tuatha spies. Travel to the old ruins at Foe's Hearth. We'll meet you inside and we can talk there. Now be careful.
So few of the Winter Court left to stay. You go ahead. It's been some time since Sidon and I had a chance to talk.
Indeed, Agarth. I hear on the winds that you laid down your sword and drowned yourself in drink when you learned the ways of fate. And yet here you are, sword in hand, again the victor. How is this? Do the winds lie to me?
It's a long tale. It started when I sobered up long enough to go bury a friend of mine in Alistar Tower. Or rather, that's what I had planned to do. Can't believe we beat you here. Sidon knows...
It is agreeable to see you, Siegebreaker. Cluricon can be inhospitable at times, as the Tuatha have learned. We've made sure of it. So I did. We are the Bitter Frost, the last few remnants of free Winter Fae. We have refused to bend knee to Gadflow or his god. Our numbers are few, but we have fought our kin as best we can. The once noble houses of sorrow, pride, and vengeance have all fallen under Gadflow's sway. Until they're freed, the Tuatha's ranks will continue to swell with the faithful. Blind him, cut out his tongue, draw the venom from our land. Only then will we be able to begin to strike at Alabastra. The Tuatha have built Prismeer chantries across Cluricon. From here, Gadflow rallies the faithful, preaches the word of Tirnoch, and corrupts our land. Destroy these chantries and disrupt Gadflow's ability to infect its land. Without Gadflow to guide them, the Tuatha in Cluricon will be disorganized and scattered. When this is done, we'll take you to Ventrinio. He can help you breach Alabastra. There are 3 of them, to the south and east. Kill their guards, then smash their crystals and be done with them. Gadflow will try to stop you, but it's just a harmless projection. He can't hurt you. At least, not directly. Go now. Break the tyrant's grip.
Faithful, a child of dust is here for death. Grant their pitiful wish. Tirnoch watches over you and blesses you with her unyielding reign.
undying mortal from the well has returned. Your mere existence is an abomination against all things. How can you not see this? A child of dust who lives after death. A creature separated from your fate. A being with neither purpose nor reason. You were a mistake. A new way mortals found to pervert the world. Soon you shall be cleansed from my lands. Mortals stole the secrets of magic, and now they come to take our land. But all that they find here shall be death. Mortals are born to die. In Tirnoch's name, we must lead them to their fate. You struggle against the force of a simple army. How will you fare, I wonder, against the power of... Of course you aren't. You may be a foolish, unclean sin against the natural order, but I'll grant that you're no coward. The only solution is for you to be cleansed when Tirnoch the Merciful comes to our world. Soon. Who dares to stand against Tirnoch? Strike her down and salt the earth of her grave. Nothing may live lest Tirnoch commands it. Try as you might, struggle as you will, you are deluded. There is no winning for you, only death. Yes, but death as you define it means little to us. The great cycle returns each Tuatha as Tuatha again. And every time they do, Tirnoch gets stronger. Soon, she will be born into this world. You will witness her power personally, and it will be the last thing your mortal flesh shall ever feel.
So few of the Winter Court left to stand against the Tuatha.
Godfrey's voice has fallen silent in this land. The Tuatha are frightened and disorganized. They run back to Alabastra to make their final stand. We owe you much. Our eyes are opened and our blades unsheathed. Cluricon is won, but the House of Pride stands between us and the final goal. We are now free to press forward. And I can take you to an old friend who knows the next step. Yes, we will take you to his filthy tower on the island of Danistar. He hides within, and has not emerged in some time. I would like nothing more than to let him rot there. but he knows of a way past the sentinel of the House of Pride. But there will be more danger on the path ahead. Take these blades to prepare for whatever troubles you will face at his tower or beyond. Far to the southwest, there is a darkened tree by the Caelid coast. Meet me there, and we can walk the shadow to the gnome's tower. Aelin Shear will be waiting there. She was most insistent to join in whatever business you have with the Collector of the Dead. We've seen Ventrinio leave the island before, but until recently, he always had company. Usually they were henchmen. Sometimes they were corpses. And once, not too long ago, it was you. Danister Island is sheltered from visitors by stone and storm. Exiles of the Winter Court were once banished to its lonely shores. We know of a secret shadowed path, a legacy from a house all too familiar with exile. My people are no strangers to exile on the barren island of Danistar. To steal back our freedom, the House of Sorrows forged a path to the coast through living shadow. It's safe so long as you keep your eyes closed during the journey and ignore the whispers. Meet me at the Caelid coast. The Winter Fae know of a shadow path to Ventrinio's island. We will meet again at the shadowed tree on the Caelid coast.
The Tuatha are on the run. Good work. Plus, it's much more pleasant here without Gadflow bellowing at me from all corners. But enough pleasantry. Are you prepared for your reunion with Ventrinio? The notes we got from Octien say that you were employed as Ventrinio's assistant in his secret laboratory. You were with him in Alabastra when you died, but the notes weren't clear on what happened. I'm sure the two of you have so much catching up to do. Very forthright of you. I'm sure he'll be very reasonable. He probably won't even ask why you're back from the dead. Just make sure he lives long enough to get us into Alabastra, and you can count on my help. He's a worm, but a useful one. Octien took quite a risk setting him up in Cluracan. Must have made a lot of deals to keep him safely hidden away. Danistar is almost perfectly defended. Ventrinio could keep an army off of its shores. Good thing we found another way there. Secret Fae paths through elemental darkness? Magic like that should be closely guarded. Imagine how powerful it could be. Of course, this is bound to be informative. I'm just disappointed I never had a chance to see the original Well of Souls. I believe our new friend has a disturbing path of living shadow to offer you. By all means, be my guest.
Make it quick. This island is a perfection.
I hope you're ready for this. I believe our new friend has a disturbing path of living shadow to offer you. By all means, be my guest. You keep surprising me. Sidon's band of merciless Fae with lifetimes of training and everything to fight for? Yes, I think they'll be quite useful allies indeed. Believe it or not, the House of Sorrows is the most welcoming of the Unseelie houses. Then again, a viper nest is friendlier than the houses of pride and vengeance. I believe our new friend has a disturbing... This island smells like death. Stay behind me. Whatever that gnome's been up to, it looks like he's made a few enemies in the process. Just as Hughes thought, Ventrinio... Follow me and be careful. The lads are coming from somewhere in here.
The energy from the Well of Souls is overwhelming. Damn it! What's wrong? And why are there so many lads?
Sounds like our rat is caught in a trap. I'm sure he'd be happy to help whoever saves him. Careful, or we'll get trapped up there too. Here's where we part ways. I'll stop the lads at the stairwell. You get upstairs and retrieve Ventrinio. Shouldn't be hard to find him. Keep moving up and follow the cowardly shrieking. I'll hold this staircase.
A new source of power? What sort of nonsense is this? If anything had come in here, my detection spells would have... Wait. Who's down there? Show yourself! Took your time, did... Gods damn it! Ever since the Balor was defeated, the Chaos magic sent the well off its alignment. You show up, and now the Laz are... Wait. What? It's you. You're alive. But I saw you die. I'm Ventrinia, of course. Don't you remember me? You were my assistant here at the Well of Souls. You were going to help me change the world. But of course, that was before you died. It was terrible. You were the best assistant I ever had. Who else could have helped me get into Alabastra? Who else had that ambition? We got more than enough Prismere, but you wanted to track down the power source, even if it meant sneaking right under Gadflow's nose. I spent days trying to recover your body, but I never expected to find you alive, or for you to return. Speaking of which, how did you return anyway? Of course you did. We went there to steal Prismere to power the well, and you wanted to go after the source of the Prismere itself. You went off, geared for war, sneaking into Baal itself. You damned fool! I had a better chance of bringing you back from the dead than I had of changing your mind. But I wasn't able to do either. Not important? Not important? What happened to you? You were so eager to be attuned to this well, and now it's not important? The well is coming down around us, and you don't even care. Ah! I've got to slow the energy and shut this thing down. We'll have time to catch up afterwards, and... Oh, damn it all! Here they come! Hold them off! The Laz are here! Hold them off while I try to stop the flow of energy to the well. There. Perfectly safe. I think. Careful. Anything we can salvage? Even a piece? All my work gone. Damn it all! But at least we're still alive. Once again, I triumph over death itself. Going back into Alabastra? Well, I still have a way in, but it's more dangerous now than the last time we went. I'll need more Prismere if I'm to rebuild the well. And I suppose I owe you something for saving my life. Perhaps this talisman can help you. It's a little something I salvaged from the debris. It might just help against whatever killed you the first time. We got in with a little help, of course. See, it's all because of Callus Dren, the defender of pride. In his house, no one can stand before him. None can even approach, unless you have my little secret. Patience, patience. You'll have it soon enough. I'm going to have to dig it out of the rubble of the tower. Go to the field of Huber, and I'll meet you there. And if you value your life, do not approach Dren. I know the type. Lucky youth peaked early, then crawled into a bottle and waited to die. I'm impressed you dragged him away from that bottle, but I wouldn't expect him to do any heavy thinking. My name is Ventrinio Desalini, and I am Professor Emeritus Abscondus of Post-Mortem Studies at the Edessa University. Of course, that was all before I began work on the Well of Souls. Such an important undertaking doesn't leave much time for other pursuits, you know. Gadflow's got an empire built on Prismere. Think of all the power he's sitting on. And he's wasting it on swords and bows. After an unfortunate incident with the Templars, Octian decided to move my work someplace a little further from the public eye. We both felt that an island in another land behind the front lines of a war might just be far enough from prying eyes. You mean your deadly little shadow? I know her type. All smiles now, but it's just so she can get close enough to stick her knives in you. He wasn't fit to hold my crucible, much less carry on my work. He could barely even stand to cut open a warm corpse for study. I can't imagine the reason you came back in his well instead of mine. Probably some freak attunement transfer. Simple bone soldiers, easy enough for any decent mage to build and animate. They're not really alive any more than a puppet is. Partial successes at best. They remember how to fight, but that's about all they're good for. Named them after an old nursery rhyme. Damn things are always moaning all the time. I thought it might shut them up to give them a name. We needed tremendous quantities of Prismere to fuel the well, but it's almost unheard of outside of Alabastra, so we had to sneak in to gather our own. Octian, the man lacked vision. Can you believe all he wanted was his own personal immortality machine? Such a narrow-minded goal for a Templar. Still, he wasn't squeamish about what had to be done in order to develop the well. I suppose he paid well, too, if you'd consider that any reason to pursue the sciences. Arrogant fools, all of them. At least we could sneak past them when they were overconfident. Now that the army's at their gate, they'll be watching for us. Dren, defender of pride. One of twin defenders, quite powerful in their homes. But did you know they were also entirely immune to each other's powers? And it seems the Defender of Valor quite disappeared when her house fell. Imagine how useful she would have been if she were here today. A horrible, messy, ugly place. Too dark to keep bodies preserved and too hot to keep them from stinking. Oh, to be back in a cave in Datir. The Well of Souls is a noble project. Yes, sacrifices have been made. Laws have been broken. People have died. And they will continue to die. Don't you see? That's exactly what I'm trying to prevent. How many have died in this war? Thousands. The bodies are shoulder deep on the battlefields, but for trying to cure it, they call me a monster? You don't remember it? Well, why dredge up the past? After all, you're fine now, aren't you? You're not the type to hold a grudge, right? Okay. We were in Alabastra getting Prismere. I never thought it'd be dangerous. At least not very. Oh, don't give me that look. Accidents happen, and you can't make an omelette without leaving a few corpses. I didn't know anything about you before you worked for me. Octian hired you and told me you were a resourceful assistant. That's all I know. You didn't like talking about yourself. Actually, you didn't like much of anything. Honestly, you were a terror to be around. But you've changed. I can tell. Before you died, you would never have been this diplomatic. You probably would have knifed me for answers by now. Oh, speaking of which, you left this in your room before you died. Take it. Just go to the Field of Humor and wait for me. I'll meet you down there once I can find this damned essence. Get going.
I'll keep an eye on them.
Remember, don't go near Dren until I get...
Run!
Did you hear that?
By the gods, it was horrible. He killed them all, and nothing could stop him. It was Dren, that freak who guards the House of Pride. He told us to leave, but we thought we could beat him. He's just one Fae, and not even a Tuatha, but nothing hurt him, and he slaughtered us all. The worst thing was, he seemed sorry to kill us. We'd heard the legends of Dren the Bloody, unbeatable defender of the House of Pride, but you know how Fae are with their stories. We were going to be the ones who beat him, and opened the path to Alabastra for the army. We were going to be heroes, you know? Then Dren told us to turn around or we'd die. And God's help us, we didn't turn around. That's what we thought too. But if anyone can do it, it'd be you.
Another victory!
Damn it! I told them not to try anything until we arrived. This wouldn't be related to Aylin and her friend coming down that road, would it? If you or anyone else I'd try to stop you. As it is, I'll just wish you good luck. This can't end here.
Sometimes one soldier can do what an entire army...
You haven't tried going in there, have you? No, of course you haven't. You're still alive. This took a little longer to find than I had hoped, but it should be exactly what you need. Dren had a twin in the Summer Court, Dith the Defender of Valor. They were both entirely immune to each other's power. She faded when the House of Valor fell, but my early experiments with the Well of Souls provided a quite useful little surprise. You see, when trying to draw life energy from the ether, I captured her essence and bound it into this charm. With this, you will be immune to Dren's power. It's not as powerful as it used to be, and it's specific to Dren. But it'll let you face him and live. Now, be fair. Fae don't have souls as mortals do. They're a form of magic with a physical form. And I only got a little of it anyway. Just enough for a certain degree of immunity to Dren's power. It only works for one person, but it'll be enough for you to reach him. Trouble is, he'll be immune to your power as well. But I'm sure you can think of something. With the essence of valor, you can withstand Dren's attacks. Stop being such a child and go face him. Now, go show that defender what a little magic can do.
Turn back or die. Then you shall die like the others before you. I made an oath to protect my house and my homeland. No power short of death can keep me from fulfilling my duties. I know your intentions are to free my people from the Tuatha. You seem an honorable sort. You even bear the blessing of my sister. But I have sworn an oath to defend my house and homeland. I cannot let you in without a fight, and you cannot win against me. If only things could be different. If only the Tuatha were gone and my sister was back. Enough. We could fight each other until the mountains wear away, but that will aid nothing. My sister and I were chosen to protect our kind. So long as our houses stood, the Fae would never pass from this world. I in pride, and she in valor. We never imagined that our houses could crumble beneath our feet. Mortals led to the collapse of my sister's house, but with Gadflow's help, they shall not have mine. He may taint pride with his Prismere and his obscene god, but it will keep us eternal. Before I knew the truth of Tuatha, I swore to keep my homeland safe from invaders. I could never have known what my people would become. Fae never change, and pride's honor never yields. I cannot yield, but if your true intent is to stop Gadflow, then perhaps there is a way my house and my honor could remain pure. If you would promise to spare the House of Pride, then we could put aside our powers and have an honest battle. Win, and your army may pass. I expected treachery from any friend of Sidon the Outcast, and I shall have no lies within my house.
You did it! You actually beat him! Guess I owe Ventrinio a drink. A promise is a promise, and the Witch Knights of Pride would be powerful allies to have on our side. I'll send a few soldiers along to help. Meanwhile, I'll get the other troops ready to move into Alabastra once that gate opens. The gate to Alabastra's still closed, and we can't open it without the House of Pride's help. Clean out the Tuatha inside, and we can move on. Get that gate open, and the army will be ready to go.
Halt! Parley in honor of Dren, if you would be so kind as to have a word with us. I have been chosen by the remaining members of our house to speak for all. We were most honored by your intention to free us. We are in seclusion, so as best to observe this situation without any unnecessary interference or risk to ourselves. I assure you, we will be more than happy to assist you in Alabastra. Simply carry forth and destroy Witch Knight Myrna, who has so commandeered our house, and her dreadful Prismere Chantry, of course. We are sure you'll have no problem finding her, or defeating her. We eagerly anticipate your success.
Well done, child of dust. You've killed the immortal defender and liberated a house full of arrogant backstabbers. I should thank you for exposing the disloyal amongst my kin. But then, I have so much to thank you for. Your bravado is nothing more than the mewling of an angry kitten. Each Tuatha you kill makes the rest of us stronger. Each one feeds Tirnoch. The goddess of mercy awakens. And with every step you take into my homeland, she comes that much closer to walking our world and purging your kind. So welcome to Alabastra. It shall be the death of you once more.
We have seen our champion bested, our advantage lost, and our minds are cleared. Bravo to you, champion. House of Pride, in our ineffable wisdom, renounces the Tuatha and demands that you accept our immediate surrender. Your army is welcome here. We trust our benevolence will be well remembered should Gadflow be dethroned. We thank you kindly, and our mages have already been assisting your army in their march into Alabastra. We trust you do not object. Most excellently spoken. You have the commanding presence of a young Aegon, who once also bore the pleasure of our august company. Allow us to welcome you to Alabastra. We trust your visit will be eventful. Myself? Why, this one is merely the lowest ranked of our house, and yet we have been chosen as the speaker for the Fae of Pride. To us falls the honor of acting as liaison to your mortal army. Your charming, well-bred, and simply lovely army. How Gadflow came to command such respect is beyond even our wisest. He was little more than a jester at the Winter Court. But he said he found the voice of Tirnoch, and she led him to power. And it seems he was correct. As the Fae are above mortals, the House of Pride reigns above their fellow Fae, sharing our wisdom, our grace, and our humility. Prince Sidon is a Fae of noble tradition. He would never raise a hand against the High King, just as he would never bow before the Tuatha. The Tuatha bred in our lands before we realized what change they truly represented. Certainly we all share a distaste for mortals, but few of us ever hunted them. Vengeance is such a sloppy, boorish house. Marvelous fighters, of course, but simply crude. They all feel that the world has wronged them somehow. And perhaps it did. How else would they end up in such a hateful house? We have been gifted with so much. It's only proper that we are also immortal, so as to put our gifts to the most use. Conversely, poor children of dust have so little, but are given barely a moment to live. How kind the world is.
The House of Pride opened its gates and welcomed us as honorary champions. They say it's simple hospitality, but I suspect we have you to thank. Now is the difficult part. We can hold Cluracan, even push a little into Alabastra, but we don't have the forces to mount a siege on Gadflow. Once the House of Pride gives their word, they'll never break it. At least, not while it looks like we're winning. Our real problem is that we can't march the army through Alabastra. Not in formation, at least. This will call for smaller groups. Alabastra is a maze of valleys. Gadflow's remaining faithful would spot an army moving together, and the valleys would be the death of us. But where an army would fail, the 5 of us can triumph. If we split up, we can travel faster and catch them unaware. We will at the House of Vengeance, on Gadflow's doorstep. From there, we strike at Bale, the heart of his empire. I'm sure you know more about it than I do. After all, you were here last. That's where we'll find Gadflow, and where we'll put an end to this whole war. I hope you're ready. This time. More than you'd think. But I promise I'll explain it all to you. Maybe once Gadflow's dead. I'll see you in Alabastra.
Hope you've got better luck this time, eh? Agarth wanted me to keep an eye on Lady Shear, but you and I need to have a talk first. I've been reviewing my notes of our last trip to Alabastra, and I've come to some startling conclusions about your death and Tiernock. I don't know exactly, but it must have been a tremendously powerful source of magic. So powerful that the Well of Souls couldn't help but pick up on it. You were attuned to the well in my lab, but Hugh's well captured your essence. The power in Bale seems to have been the missing element. What's more, I think that power is the source of the Prismere crystals. Something intelligent and malignant. The creature the Tuatha called Tiernock. Something incredibly powerful. I don't know if we even have a name for what she is, because no one's lived to name it. She's not a god. She's something much, much worse. And judging by the growth of this Prismere, she's very close to coming into our world for good. Whatever Gadflow's been doing, it's all in order to bring her here. So you've got to stop him before it's too late. When you and I came to Alabastra, we were looking for the source of the Prismere's power. I never found it, but I think you did. And that's why you died. The frosted gem at the center of Alabastra. Full of Prismere. But now it's a lot more full of enemies than it was when we snuck in there. Tiernock isn't a god. No god has ever commanded that much magic directly. Whatever she is, she must be amazingly powerful. I can see why Gadflow would worship her. Imagine controlling that much raw magic. With tremendous difficulty. Even so, there weren't as many Tuatha here, and we used magic to keep us hidden. Magic which you provided, in fact. You never did explain where you got those fascinating little artifacts.
You must hurry. There is much to do. Gask and his forces are preparing to march. They know about the caves and will not cease until every last one of us has been slain. And there are the survivors of Eventide to consider. I have not heard a whisper from across the pass. And Esha, she plots a fool's errand. We must stop her. Much to do. They did not sense the changing of the tide as I did. They had no warning. The first of Gask's soldiers occupied the pass, severing Ashmore from Eventide, ending all communication between us. We of Ashmore retreated into these caverns and know not of what fate befell Eventide since. There are many good folk there, Bareth, Nell, and even Ordo. An agent of Gadflow and head witch knight of Cadsamir, one whose acts define him. Little is known of him, but this is not important. His actions here are a grim enough tale. She was once of the House of Vengeance, and has always served as the guardian of Ashmore. But she is only one warrior against Gask's legions. Esha fears an attack, and wishes to lead survivors to safety through the caverns. Perhaps you can talk her out of it. She readies her people below. Don't go.
Agarth will not be far behind you. Neither of us saw any sign of Aelin Shear or Ventrinu. A scout on the ridge above saw the Tuatha mounting for a counterattack. You should hear what he has to say before we move on. If you'd rather not wait, talk with Agarth. Time is of the essence. The Pale Country, once the peaceful home to the Winter Court. Now Gadflow squats in her heart like a rat in the flesh. My homeland will not suffer this indignity. Together, we must extract the Tuatha, even if it means the end of my people. Bale, the icy heart of my people, with bridges of woven stone and ice. It sickens me to think of what Gadflow's people have done to it. Legend says it was where the first alliance between enemies was formed. And we Fae do so love to repeat legends, don't we? Agarth, if he tells you he's ready, then my people are as well. Of course, if you wish to proceed with caution, the scout on the ridge will know what we're up against. Careful. This is worse than I had feared.
There you are. Well fought. Good to see you here. Ready? You should have seen Alabastra at its prime. Serene and beautiful as a sky full of stars. Bale was the seat of the Winter Court. Every bit as cold as Issa is warm. But they're both beautiful in their own ways. I won't lie. Aylin's been a big help. She saved me once or twice at Melson Shear when she could have just let me die. Still can't shake the feeling that she's hiding something. But whatever it is, it's probably not too sinister. Probably. I am. But there hasn't been any sign of Aylin Shear or Ventrinio. Damn it all, I knew we couldn't trust her. You're right. At least now I don't need to worry about when she's going to betray us. Just how she already has. Right now, we just need to get through the House of Vengeance and kill the Cur. He's the closest thing Vengeance has to a leader anymore. A face so consumed with hatred that he's little more than a beast. If you're going to get into Bale, the Cur has to die. We'll go as far as we can. Whatever is happening in Bale needs to be stopped as quickly as possible. Listen, you're more powerful than I ever was. If anyone can stop this, it's you. When you kill the Cur, you go into Bale and stop Gadflow. If we get separated, I'll keep fighting to keep an escape route open for you. Now go! Stay on guard.
My deepest apologies for not being able to join the battle. Ventrinio was something of a hassle. He attacked me. It was only a matter of time before his greed got the better of him. The closer we got to Bale, the more obsessed he became with Tianok, and with harnessing Tianok's power, just like Gadflow did. That's why he had to be stopped, and why we need to talk about our mission. I wasn't sure I could trust you. You're not the same person you used to be. We're running out of time. I'll explain as we go. Lead on. I'm right behind you. Fighting at your side, just like the old days, before you died. I carry on a duty that has been fulfilled for centuries. We keep the world from being consumed by greed, by war, and by Tianok. The ancient beast must stay sealed away at any cost. The world must never realize the terrible power Tianok offers.
Ready to die.
When Gadflow's army arose, we recognized Tianok's tainted influence. Only a force like her could warp eternal creatures like the Fae. So you came to infiltrate Alabastra, find Tianok, and seal her away forever. And you used Ventrinio to get in, under the guise of being his assistant.
This end, no, Dustling!
If you couldn't stop Tianok, she would use her pawns to fully escape her prison, and the world would be her new plaything. This is her end. When I found you in Dalentarth, when I saw you had come back to life, I wasn't sure how much you remembered. I couldn't be certain you would keep our secrets. I considered killing you then and there. Nothing personal. You would have done the same to me. But then I saw what you had become. I saw the new powers you wielded. And I saw... When I saw you could change fate, I knew you were our only choice. So I helped you continue your mission to stop Tianok, even if you had forgotten it. But over time, I realized you weren't the same woman you were when you died. You were more. You were better than the heartless commander I had known. No more delays. Last time you came here, you were destined to die. This time, your destiny is up to you. Now we have a chance to finally complete our mission. Let's put an end to Gadflow before his bargain frees Tianok on the world. This must have been a lot for you to take in at once, but I need you to be clear on who you are and what you need to do. A lot has changed since you were here last. It isn't going to be as easy this time, and last time it killed you. Oh, she's a creature with incredible power. A dragon. But she is no simple lizard in some child's tale. She has a power rivaled only by the gods. Thousands of years ago, the ancient Alpha sealed her in the Amathen between this world and the world of magic. And there she went mad. As her prison weakened over time, she was able to tempt Gadflow into helping her gain enough power to break free. And if she escapes fully, it will mean the end of all mortal life. Tianok's revenge for tens of thousands of years of imprisonment. That's why people like you and I have dedicated our lives to keeping Tianok's secret from the world. We were supposed to keep Tianok hidden from the world. Anyone who learned too much had to die. But when Gadflow found her, you were the one who volunteered to kill him and seal Tianok away once more, even though you were fated to fail. It took every trick we had to get you here the first time, and you still died. I don't know if you plan to be resurrected, but knowing you, I wouldn't be surprised. If you only think you're ready, then you're not the same cocky bastard that I used to work with. Just make sure you do the job right this time. You can't count on having a third life. And it'd be a shame to lose the woman you've become. What are you, a moonstruck whelp? To save our world, Gadflow, now get in there. And try not to get yourself killed again. Lead on. I'm right behind you.
You don't understand, do you? The power of Tianok. Yes,
Return to your grave!
Something's not right. If Gadflow isn't here, then he must be hiding further underground, someplace closer to the source of the Prismere. Definitely, the war's not over yet. Whatever bargain Gadflow made with Tiernok, it's about to pay off. When that happens, the world will not be spared her wrath. In the heart of Alabastra is the former unseelie city of Baal. Beneath the Winter King's court, there is the cave of Amathin. It's a place of tremendous power. It is where Tiernok is imprisoned, and where you died. Somehow Gadflow found a way to reach out to Tiernok. Or perhaps she was able to seek out his twisted mind. She offered him power, and with it, he began the Tuatha. No wonder Gadflow thinks she's a god. We were two of the people who were supposed to keep Tiernok hidden from the world. Anyone who learned too much had to die. But when Gadflow found her, you were the one who volunteered to kill him and seal Tiernok away once more, even though you were fated to fail. It took every trick we had to get you here the first time, and you still died. I don't know if you plan to be resurrected, but knowing you, I wouldn't be surprised. Then Trinia was right. Tiernok is no god. She has almost as much power, and is every bit as dangerous to the world as any Doc god. Her powers raised Gadflow from a jester to a warlord, and in return, his army would usher in a chance for her to enter this world and consume it. She's imprisoned deep in the Amathin, but Gadflow's war has weakened her bonds. There's no time to spare. If she gets free, our world is lost. This way. Tiernok is held captive deep in the Amathin, but her prison is weakening by the moment.
I feel you here again, full of life, full of fate. What have you brought?
Feel Tiernok's eyes upon us.
You've used your power well. So much potential. Let's have a taste, shall we?
She just tore out a part of the fates you've stolen and turned it against you. Perhaps it is not inaccurate to think of her as a god.
I have been imprisoned here since before your kind emerged from the dark. But now, my freedom draws near.
We cannot let Gadflow free Tiernok.
Gadflow's prayers weaken this prison, but he is not the one who will set me free.
Don't listen. You're the only one who has the power to stop her.
When you first came to me, death was your only fate, but I'm better useful. And you were so eager to play your role.
chose this? What does she mean by that?
I gave you freedom, and now you have returned to grant me mine.
Only you have the power to reseal Tirnoch inside the Amathen. I must keep the secret of her existence from the world. Once Tirnoch is pushed back into her prison, these caverns must be sealed. But that leaves one question. Can I trust you to keep Tirnoch's secret? There are things in this world that must remain hidden. If the power of the dragons were widely known, well, you've seen what has happened here. Gadflo tapped a fraction of her power. He upset the great cycle of the Fae and waged a genocidal war on the young races. Just coming in contact with her power managed to free you from fate's bonds. And if you can turn that freedom against her, she will have no power over Amalur. Nothing like you has ever existed before. As always, there's no way of knowing your future. If you're victorious, it may be the last time you change the fate of the world. Even if you fall back into fate's weave once her influence is gone from this world, it will be a far better fate than what Tirnoch's emergence would bring. That is excellent. After all that you've done, it would have been a shame for you to die a second time. If you do escape, I will be watching you. And know this, anyone who learns the truth of what happens here, I will silence myself. Go. Stop Tirnoch from fully entering this world. But remember, my blades will always be at your back. Tirnoch's power is immense. She just tore off a splinter of what you could have been and turned it against you. When she killed you, that much power must have torn you free of the entire tapestry of fate. Nothing in the world is fated to stop Tirnoch. That's why you're the only one who has a chance. I'm just here to make sure you take it. This way.
Come, Fate Weaver, bring me your power. Sacrifice yourself and seal the fate of your world.
It's time to choose your fate. Amathen lies beyond. This is where the dragon will breach the veil.
Come forward, mortals. Behold the birth of Tirnoch. Attend your final hour.
My fate does not lie beyond those doors. You alone may change what is to come. Go!
Welcome back, mortal. How does it feel, I wonder, to return to this place? Does the pain of your death still linger? Can you feel it echo through the air? And now, in this place, you shall witness the birth of Tirnoch, the destruction of the Alpha, and the dawn of the endless winter. She comes. Tirnoch the powerful. Tirnoch the merciful. Qualla fella Tirnoch. Quella sera Tirnoch. Fear not. Have I done well, lady? Are you pleased? Is it... Did I...
You have served your purpose.
But I have so much more to give.
Come closer. Give yourself to me. Impossible!
How could we have known that this would be a new beginning? I wonder now if we should have foreseen this outcome, but who knew then what fate would bring? I would have liked to have delivered this message in person, to see you one final time. That, however, would have been complicated. The order to which I belong had other plans. Were you ever to leave the crystalline fortress? When it comes to you, though, it seems no fate is written in stone. It was only through my assurances that your silence could be counted upon that either one of us still draws breath. I trust you will not make of me a liar. Were stories of what we have seen to begin to surface in the inns and taverns of Amalur, I would be asked to seek you out. And as we both know, the next time you die, there will be no return. But let us not speak of this. Your life is your own. Go now, and see what fate may bring you, or what fate you may bring. Perhaps one day in happier times, you and I will meet again. Until that day, I remain yours, Aelin Share.